the album concept hour. The album concept hour. It's the album concept hour.
Welcome everybody to the album concept hour. I am, of course, your host, Brad of the Low Flame. We have our co-hosts, Tall John Beer and David the Daft.
Well, hello.
But who else is it in the studio? You wonder. You can hear that there's someone else lurking in the shadows. Who is it? Who is it? Are you? Do you want me to answer the question, or do you want me to keep on drawing it out the way that I am right now? Oh my goodness! You heard him. You heard him in the shadows.
It's me lurking in the shadows.
They say that he goes by Fang VonWrathenstein.
That's right.
His friends call him Ty, I think. But welcome, Fang VonWrathenstein.
It's wonderful to be here. You can call me Ty for short. You know, it makes it easier.
Yeah. Just
otherwise, the podcast just gets extended by multiple hours.
Yeah. We'll shorten it to Ty for now, or Fang if you want to be exciting.
You know,
but,
Ty is like that's the mortal alias, you know, that I go by basically because I don't know if you've ever gone to the DMV and you've tried to like fill out your name on the forms where they give you like the little block letters that you can fill things out. They never give you enough little block letters to fill out Fang VonWrathenstein. So I thought to myself, well, what's the shortest mortal name I could use? And, you know, I thought Bob, but that's 3. But wait a minute, Ty is 2 letters.
Yeah.
That's even shorter.
Yeah.
So I just went with that.
Way easier.
Yeah.
Way easier.
They're
It's good
they're
for
really,
us mortals.
Yeah, they really
mere
are judgmental towards magical creatures and beings out there. You know, they don't want us to be able to do our thing and exist as we are. You know, it's sick.
And the paperwork at the DMV is just way more hassle if you have to fill all that stuff out. There's extra forms.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
ridiculous.
They want to know what kind of magic
You're already there for
using.
2 hours.
You don't need to know that, you know. Like,
And then you fill out the wrong form. Oh no, you need to fill
start over.
Form 1C. Damn it.
Have you ever had to register your sword?
No, but I did have to register my fists as deadly weapons.
Right.
that's good.
Yeah. Well,
I have
those
too many
are-
swords to register. You know, I probably shouldn't be talking about that. The official sword registry might come knocking down at my door.
It's one.
You know.
Just have one.
What is it? Alcohol, tobacco, and swords, something like that.
Yeah. That's the
ATS.
the ATS. Yeah. But yeah, welcome to the album concept hour. Thanks for coming on. I reached out because you're one of the you and the group that you're the front man of, Lords of the Trident, are one of the Madison staples. I saw you guys, I think, in 2017 or 2018. Last so many years are a little hazy. But you guys put on a killer show. All your live footage is amazing. We're glad to have you.
I'm surprised. This is a killer album. So
I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah, and this is the latest full length album, right? I saw that there was another thing on Spotify, but is that a single or?
Yeah, that's correct. We did so after our Japan tour in December of last year. When we were on tour in Japan, we did a cover of a song by the Japanese band Anthem. Really amazing Japanese thrash power metal band, and we when we got back, we recorded it, and while we were there, we basically like shot a music video for it. So it was a single.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which music video was? The Anthem thing, right? That's the music video. Yeah. That's a really really fun one.
I bet this album kills in Japan.
Well, yeah. I mean, how did that come to be? Like, how did you get connected to Anthem and even getting the tour going to go overseas to Japan?
Yeah, so in terms of Anthem, I've always I want to say one of the guys maybe Aki shared an Anthem album with me back in the day, and I just fell in love with them. I really enjoyed Anthem quite a bit, and they've been kind of like a staple of the tour van. You know, like when we're doing long 8-9 hour drives, we'll throw on a bunch of albums, and we're like, So there's a couple albums that are always on constant rotation, and Anthem, especially the Anthem album Immortal, is one of the ones that we constantly spin.
Yeah.
So when we went over there, we they have a song off of their it's called Absolute World, I think it's their 2016 album, and it's like a 2 minute and 30-second song. It's just like an in and out, just perfect, done, you know, really quick banger called Destroy the Boredom. And it was just, you know, and I think it's that whole like you know, Japanese people singing in English lyrics that, you know, like you get what they're saying, but they don't 100% translate, you know, like destroy the boredom. It's like, I mean, I get what you're going for, you know?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, I destroy my boredom all the time when I'm playing some video games, you know, relaxing. Yeah.
So we wanted to throw in a cover song. Because it was our first time in Japan. And I also think we turned a lot of heads because I suppose I speak Japanese, and I have a major in it. Yeah,
you were bringing that to your singing. Then I was going to say you did that really well for a non-speaker, but you speak it. Cool.
I do. Yep. I was one of my majors from UW-Madison was Japanese. So
nice.
Yeah. So we went over there and kind of turned a lot of heads when I would do like stage banter with the audience, like in Japanese. They were not expecting that at all. People's heads kind of exploded from that. So
did you like withhold that for a couple of songs sometimes?
A white person speaking fluent Japanese. Holy shit.
And like the funniest stage, you know, the part that killed every single night when we were on tour was I would do this, you know, it was like the third song in, I'd be like, I bet you're wondering, it basically translated to like, I bet you're wondering how this white guy can speak Japanese. And the truth of it is that, you know, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I majored in it in college, but I have completely forgotten all of my Japanese. I don't speak any of it anymore. And so when you come by the merch booth to buy a t-shirt, please speak very slowly. And that, you know, that killed every night. Everybody really liked that little planned out banter. So
and did they come to the table, and was it a long and arduous line because of how slow they're speaking?
Well, I mean, it was more like thankfully they were speaking slow, because otherwise they come up to you and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not that fluent. Like, come on.
Yeah. Maybe a few more tours in Japan. And
well, we are going back in December. So yeah.
Wow, already getting a second tour. That's exciting, man. That's awesome.
It's us, and we're taking the band Seven Spires along with us, who's also known for doing concept records, so maybe another band for your list there.
Good to know.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you can give them my email address or whatever if they want to talk concept stuff, you know.
Yeah. But in terms of your previous question of how the whole Japan tour came together is, you know, as my wife and I, you know, we both majored in Japanese in college, and we had a bunch of friends, and actually, Aki, our guitarist, was in the Japanese program basically up through sixth semester. He was almost majored in it. And so we had a lot of friends, a lot of you know, classmates who moved over there after college. And we had one classmate who started up a small business, kind of a boutique travel tourism kind of a thing, where he would take groups of 10 to 15 people over who'd never been to Japan and do these hyper targeted tours for these people. And he'd do like a theme. So, you know, 1 month would be like the sake tour, 1 month would be the anime tour, 1 month would be the beer tour, 1 month would be the food tour. And so I hit him up and I said, yo, if we ever tour Japan, would you want to do like a Lords of the Trident themed tour? And he's like, oh my God, yes, absolutely. So we put that together, and we asked people on our Patreon if they wanted to come over and you know, basically sightsee by day and follow us on tour by night. And we'd take care of all the travel arrangements and we'd have translators on hand. We've had, you know, do all of the trains and hotels and everything would be taken care of. So we brought over 25 people with us.
Wow.
And we had just an absolutely incredible time, like touring all over the country and having these people along with us. So we sold out half the shows. I didn't know how we were going to do, honestly.
Wow.
in Japan, but we sold out half the shows, and you know we did
I'll tell
pretty
you,
well.
man,
and-
Japanese, the Japanese love like our thrash metal and metal and stuff like that. So
Oh, for sure.
There's a
for
lot
sure.
of our music that like we found, you know, on the podcast, having covered like the Ventures and certain other acts. Like there are certain bands that like Japan is where they make it. Japan is like the place where they're known. And like, you know, back home, it's like, you know, it's whatever.
So-and-so.
It's, you know, it's your,
They'd be like super
But they,
popular.
they don't care because they get
but
their
yeah.
money from elsewhere.
yeah. But the Ventures, though, yeah, there was one of those bands that like, you know, had a, you know, big heyday after their heyday here because it got picked up by a Japanese audience. So they've always been kind of, there's been this like kind of feedback loop between us and Japan as far as the music goes, you know?
Right.
So yeah, that's
We've
I mean,
been dropping the bomb for like 50, 60 years now.
Oh.
well, I mean, not continuously. We did it.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm talking about the
Also-
music bomb. I'm talking
also,
about the
it was
music
like-
bombs.
it was like 70 or 80 years now.
I guess
because we're getting
yeah,
old
yeah.
now. Yeah, I know for a long time it was like, oh yeah, that was 50 years ago.
They just love the Gap Band.
Right.
But yeah, no, there has been this back and forth, and yeah, it's really cool when you can see your stuff take root elsewhere.
Yeah.
you know, that's
Well,
you know.
and you know we've kind of come full circle now because Mad with Powerfest, the festival that we run here this year, our headliners are Anthem. They're coming over.
Oh,
from Japan.
they're coming over here now. Okay.
Yep. hmm
Hell yeah, dude. So you guys must have had a good time on the road then.
We did. Yeah, we had
Yeah.
a great time, and
Nice.
we're actually really looking forward to going back. So you know how I said last time we had 25 people sign up
Yeah.
for the trip. So with this trip with us and Seven Spires, we actually had 85 people sign
Yeah.
up for this trip, and we had to cut it down to 40 because we were like, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
way. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen like, you know, 10 Americans trying to get on a bullet train and you have like a 2-minute window. I can't imagine 40 and not, I can't even
alone
imagine,
80.
I can't, 85. Like, can you imagine? Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
So-
yeah.
break Japan.
That's a big party. Yeah. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about The Offering. It's another concept album. We'll get to, you know, the stuff that it's about, but like what kind of inspired this particular album, or what were some of the things that were like, you know, floating around in your head while putting this one together? Or who
Yeah.
does I don't know who does the writing. I guess I'm assuming because you're the lead singer, but that's not always the case.
Well, I write a lot of I write pretty much all the lyrics and vocal melodies.
Mm-hmm.
But Brian, aka Baron Torian Helishar, he writes most of the music. Aki also writes some of the songs too. I
Yeah.
think on this album it was probably like 70-30%
Mhm.
in terms of Brian writing 70% and Aki writing 30%.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the way that it usually works is that one of those guys will come up with like a good riff or a song idea. In terms of the Baron, he'll just sit down and like write out the whole song and demo it out and record all the parts like just in his bedroom. You know, he's just got everything
Oh.
on GarageBand, and he'll send out like these, you know, these things where it's like, oh, I wrote a song, you know, and then we might add or subtract, do a little bit of stuff here and there, but yeah, a lot of his stuff he comes with a song basically fully formed, except for the lyrics and melody
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, you know, when we were writing The Offering, I mean, we were writing a lot of it, you know, around and during COVID.
Yeah.
We were writing it, you know, at least for me, kind of the mindset. This album, comparatively to a lot of our albums, is a lot more like darker, and both in style and also in like tone.
Mm.
And I think, you know, it's a reflection of a lot of the stuff that we were kind of going through, just both ourselves personally and also just kind of in the world, you know, like shit was kind of fucked up between 20, you know,
Weird
I don't
time.
know. It was a weird time. It was,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like so.
I don't know if listeners know this, but there was a pandemic of some kind.
It was a pandemic, and
I
you
just
know,
time
like,
traveled. I have no idea what happened.
What are you
I
talking about,
can't.
Brad?
It's foggy again. It's foggy. But
yeah. So and then there was
COVID
just a lot.
brain.
You know, there's just a lot of bad other bad things in the world that were just generally like
yeah.
you know. So I think that kind of influenced some of the perspective of it.
Yeah.
And the album, when we were sitting, so the way that we typically do this, right, is, you know, the guys will come and they'll have a song, we'll demo it out, and I will come up with lyrics and a vocal melody and put it over the top of it. And we usually we usually do it like a couple songs at a time. So we'll do, you know, three songs, and then they'll write some more, and then we'll do another three songs, and then they'll write some more. We don't I don't think we've ever sat down and written out like an entire album or come up with an entire concept for an album. You know, and in fact, this album did not start off as a concept album. It actually accidentally became a concept album.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So one of the first songs that we put together for this album was the song Charlatan, which I think is song number 3, if I'm remembering that correctly. And I'd sort of come up with this idea of this this kind of character. So one of the things that Aki always makes me do, which I think is very fun, is that he will always pepper me with these questions of so I'll write a song, I'll write some lyrics, and then he'll ask me about like the general world of the song that I've created that I did not think of and I do not have answers to. So like, great example on Shadows from the Past, on the album before this, there's a song called Tormentor, which is about a giant, you know, space mining robot ship that runs amok and turns around and goes to destroy Earth. And he's like, well, what kind of fuel does it run on? And I was like, like, what do you mean? He's like, well, were there a lot of people on the ship or not? And I was like, well, I didn't think about, you know, so I've to sort of like, to sort of
details
to prep for that, right? Now when I'm writing lyrics, I will write out the song, and then I'll start thinking preemptively about like the questions that Aki will ask. You know, like, okay, well, this guy's fighting these dudes who he's calling charlatans. Like, well, what is this guy? And like, why is he fighting them? And blah, blah. And so I started thinking about that as I was writing these lyrics in the thought that Aki would ask me these questions. And then I just couldn't stop thinking about the general world that I'd started to like create with this guy. And so then I thought, okay, well, I'm going to make it like a twofer. I'm going to do like the next song we were working on was Acolyte. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this guy's backstory on Acolyte. And then, the song will finish on Charlatan, where it's like a 2-part little story across 2 songs. Right. Then I started writing Acolyte, the lyrics and stuff for that, and then I started thinking about the backstory for that because I knew he was going to ask me more questions, and then it just sort of blossomed into this thing where it was like, crap, I think I've created a concept record. The funniest thing too is that Aki does not like concept records at all. Like, he hates them.
But you're in like the concept record genre, kind of, right?
So we ended up digging more into this, right? Because he has said this previously. He's like, I don't like concept records. I don't like Chrome. And what we ended up figuring out, because I finally had to break the news to the entire band after we had written, like, I think it was 10 or 11 songs on this record. I finally had to sit everybody down and be like, hey, so don't hate me, but if you haven't noticed yet, there is a narrative running through this album, and of course nobody noticed. they were too focused on like their parts and like playing their solos, right? But nobody paid attention to the lyrics, you know. And what I realized from Aki is that he doesn't like concept records where there's like narration on the record, you know.
Oh my god,
that specific, just that.
I think that's the specific, like, he doesn't.
So not a fan of Operation Mindcrime.
Oh, I mean, that's a good, because he likes that album a lot.
Oh,
so
okay, maybe that's an exception. He
does have exceptions, but I think what he wanted, and I would 100% agree with this.
Yeah,
he wanted a record that could be a record on its own where you don't need the story to enjoy it.
Yeah,
And then if you
yeah.
want to
Right.
dig deeper into the record, then, you know, you can use the story to dig deeper into the record, but you don't necessarily, you don't have to know what's going on to like put a song on and play it and enjoy it and that kind of thing. You know,
Each
I
track
think
has its own story.
I think the last two Unleash the Archers records are really good examples of that, where like there is a story, but you don't need it. It's not necessary to enjoy like specific tracks or even to like get the gist of what's going on in specific tracks. So I think you know that's more of the thing. He didn't want to turn it into like you know, a narrative experience, like a book on tape, you know.
Well, yeah,
with,
you
with
can
some
get
music.
you can get too into the concept. Like you can let the concept take over everything and lose your friends and bandmates along the way. So yeah, I'm glad that everything worked out, and this isn't like one of your what was it? Didn't this I feel like a someone from Iron Maiden left after Seventh Son of the Seventh Son because of some of this kind of bullshit. I don't know. Listen back to our episode about that. I can't remember. But do you guys want to get on to some of the tracks from this this record we've been talking about?
Yeah,
I would love to.
We got.
Well, it's like I gotta ask, like, did you know that they're like the record that we're covering tonight here, like because you're the one that introduced me to like the YouTube version that has the guy
right
doing like
that's the one that John watched. If you want, you can watch that
like
version.
And I tell you, that had me gripped. I was gripped from like the get go.
Yeah,
you know, like, and then he did his little narration in between each track, and it was just it.
Yeah,
and then I paid attention to each track a little more, and it was just epic.
Yeah. It definitely helped for what we do here at the Album Concept Hour. It had that guy, you know, helped. You know, put
I didn't even know that guy
together,
wasn't
you know?
like involved with you at all. For the record, I just thought that was the record. I did not listen to the album as a whole. Like I just
I mean, we ended up doing, you know, I did that whole sort of like lyric video for every song kind of an idea because I wanted it to sort of be that like narrative experience.
Yeah.
But, and I do kind of feel like, you know, you can just listen to the record and have it be the record and not like open up the liner notes and read those notes that I've added in there. Yeah. But we created that as sort of like a, hey, if you want like the full package, you know, with like the storyline and everything, like here you go. And you can see the lyrics coming up as they come up, and you can read them, and you can see the extra the extra artwork that we put into the booklet that kind of like outlines the story as we go.
Let me tell you, it's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a really fun listen, and it starts with kind of you know, as a lot of concept albums start with bit of prologue and setting some of the stage of you know, the world that we're about to enter. So here is a little bit of Legend. Oh, I think my whole computer's lagging. That's weird. Hopefully nothing nothing bad happens. But yeah, that was Legend. The first track kind of getting you into things. And first of all, of course, you know, I got to mention, like, you know, your vocals are, you know, some of the best in town. You know,
shucks.
You really you can hit the notes, and honestly, like, I wasn't even really into this kind of music till recently, and I think that seeing like live performances like what you guys did was part of it. But enough buttering you up though. This is about this track, from what I can tell, is setting up this main character that is a slave boy that gets taken up by these acolytes and these holy men of sorts. I'm not sure what their deal is except for balance, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
so basically, there's one of the concepts that I wanted to explore,
yeah,
in this entire record is the idea of like sort of a fantasy world, but a fantasy world without magic, right? So the
okay.
one thing that I think a lot of people kind of miss that when they go through this, there's a
I was looking for
there
it.
is
too.
no magic. No,
there's zero,
Yeah.
and that's on purpose. That's specifically on purpose,
Yeah.
because one of the things that we talk about in terms of like these legendary heroes and these rulers and stuff like that is like they always have some sort of like power behind them. But in reality,
they're like a demigod child or something. like that.
But in reality, a lot of the power in our society and even in like earlier society was constructed. It was it's kind of the same thing of like why does a dollar hold value? Why does this paper because we all have agreed that it does, right? So why is it
it's a collective power?
Yeah, why is a king a king? Because we've all said that he's the king. Right.
Yeah.
So the idea behind the Guardians, right, is that this is like essentially a judiciary kind of society of these kind of warrior, almost I like to say like warrior lawyers.
Well, I was gonna say that's what I really like about like what you've set up with it is that like these guys aren't the kings.
Yeah.
There's people that rule the society, but these guys are like they kind of rule outside of it, and they kind of like they allow it to be itself, but at the same time, they're going to intervene if one side is going too far. Whether it's good or bad, like it doesn't matter. Like, but they're also going to let it just kind of like mesh itself,
Yeah,
and that's pretty cool.
And that idea of this sort of like balance, right, where you can't. It's a very sort of like Jedi force, like good and evil kind of a thing, right? Yeah. But I think that also sort of a lot of the general concept of a person thinking they know what they know is right and pushing it too far, I think grew out of a lot of like the political landscape that we're finding ourselves in very recently. There have been many times, especially during the pandemic, that I know a lot of other people have looked at the way that things have gone and been like, oh my God, these people are fucking morons. Like I wish I could just like, like hold a holy decree and be like, Jesus fucking Christ, just God, just do this. Like, what are you doing?
You wish there was someone outside of the system to do that for us, right?
And as I started thinking of
tough time,
like thinking more about that, that idea, right, and that perspective of like, I know what's right. It could be right, but like, what happens when you push that too far? What happens when one person thinks that they're right? Maybe they're maybe they're right in their own mind.
Yeah,
and they know that they're right. So that's that whole idea of like kind of investigating that on a deeper level of like, okay, this guy pushes good, too far, or pushes evil too far, or something like that, and the balance gets messed up where everything kind of breaks because of that. So I'm delving a bit too far into the lore for track one.
The legend sets the stage, and then what you're talking about is more, I think, into Acolyte,
more into the end.
Is that the second
Legend,
one you wrote?
Well, well, and I'll just say like in
Legends,
Legends,
I guess.
Acolyte was the second one we wrote the lyrics for.
Yeah.
In Legend, essentially, you've got this, this boy who's basically sold into slavery to the Guardians, and the Guardians, basically buy children to keep their castles up in the to be custodians, and the Guardians really don't care if these children live or die. And a lot of people like looked at that and they're like, well, the Guardians are evil. And it's like, well, but like they're more like,
that was the whole point of the whole thing, though.
they're not necessarily good. They're not necessarily evil. They can do good things. They can do evil things as long as they do them within balance. And apparently, buying children is part of this.
Part of finding the balance.
Yeah.
So the boy against.
And I mean,
all
listen,
odds,
like the boy becomes an acolyte. Like they're not trying to delve too deep into the album again, but it's like,
but maybe that harshness that he went through comes back to bite him later.
Maybe.
Well, the boy against all odds survives, and they say, and he tries to run away, and they say, all right, screw it. If he's going to cause us so much trouble, and if he's going to keep surviving, I guess we'll put him through acolyte training, and that'll kill him. And if that doesn't kill him, well, all right, it was meant to be. So
something
it is. We'll get into it. Like John was mentioning that it reminds him of a little bit of the Anakin storyline, that is also a little bit like that, because he not being able to prove himself or whatever, but like regardless, going through the ranks. But this next track we have is Acolyte, and we'll get into some of that.
So listen to my words. There will be a price to pay. Suddenly you've heard. If you wish to follow and give up all you know, you must choose this willingly. You are letting go. No more captive to your anger.
how Jedi is that?
No more captive. Trying to find the balance within,
and again, like, talking about bringing this kid in, but then like you must choose this willingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is he basically being asked to throw away all of his like kind of individualness and stuff in order to fully become this acolyte? Is this like one of those kind of
it's
ascetic
more like
kind of
something like that, but it's more like throwing away, your ego. The whole idea of the Guardian is that like you will be the balance of the world is the number one thing for you, and you won't use your status as a Guardian to help your own station in life. Right. The whole idea is that you're letting go of essentially yourself as an individual, not to become part of a collective, but to become a servant for the balance, and to not like let your own desires taint the balance in any sort of a way.
Yeah. A monk of sorts.
Well, again, that's what I really liked about like the YouTube version that you sent me. Because that really, like, that guy really helps to make it clear between the lyrics and some of his explaining of it, is that you really understand that that's supposed to be the point.
Mm-hmm.
You're not there to just strike down evildoers. You're not there to strike down good doers. You're there to make sure everything flows.
Yep. Yeah. It's
however that happens. Sometimes good has the upper hand, sometimes evil has the upper hand. But like
it's like the gray Jedi.
Exactly. It is like a gray Jedi situation. You're just kind of there, to make sure it's all going according to plan.
Yeah,
it's like the Watcher of DC.
Exactly.
Yeah. Except for he does intervene.
That's the Anakin storyline we're talking about later. But anyways,
he's training with all these dudes on I can only imagine in my head High Hrothgar from Skyrim.
It was definitely that. I was pulling, I mean, at the time I was probably pulling a lot from like Jedi, Witcher, anything like that. I think a couple of years ago I just like finished The Witcher 3, and so I was probably pulling. And actually, Charlatan, the song that's coming up next, is kind of where that idea of the song kind of came from, was like kind of Witcher related. So
let's you want to get into that next track? This is Charlatan, and this is a fun one.
track and the previous one, Acolyte. I think I love them. Just the sound of them, like the vocals are killer. The guitar, the drumming, like it has this. One of my favorite bands, Iron Maiden, just like that, like gallopy, like that, really just like that heavy drum and guitar. These songs are just my jam. I loved them.
Yeah,
just the sound, it just like killed me.
Yeah,
These are
Thank
amazing.
you.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I was definitely swapping between this and some Iron Maiden earlier too.
Oh, we are definitely all big Maiden fans. So
I mean, they're they're one of the big ones.
That's definitely prevalent.
Would you say power metal is the name of this genre?
for us, yeah, I would say so. I think I obviously everybody has their own take on exactly what genre it is, but we tend to fit more into the power metal side of things. I think we tend to fit more into what people would refer to as U.S. power metal versus European power metal.
Yeah. Okay.
European power metal is a lot more like symphonic, like your Sabaton, your Powerwolf. That would be Glory Hammer, Twilight Force. That would be European power metal. U.S. power metal is a bit more focused on like the old school kind of like Iron Maiden and Dio,
the British,
but it's got a little bit more. I don't know. It's a mix between the old school stuff and like European power metal. I think is kind of the middle ground. Yeah.
Well, what I like about you guys is I can hear, obviously the influences from the past, but I can also hear the influences that took place during your, lifetimes and things like you've added, certain like chords that are more used in the 2000s and 2010s maybe that you wouldn't have heard in an 80s version of that kind of track. So,
like that track,
like that one. But I love that. You it's not just a copying of that genre. It is also you are putting your own spin on it and stuff. Although I gotta ask, I watched the I'm Not Invincible video where you open up about your experience with almost losing your voice.
Yeah,
and I gotta. What my question, I guess, is how do you maintain a healthy falsetto? And is that a falsetto, or is that just the regular voice being pushed? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's some people would call it falsetto, some people would call it head voice. And it's but the higher range kind of singing, to keep a healthy higher range is essentially the exact same as keeping a healthy lower range. It's all about practice, it's all about warming up, and it's all about listening to your body. I had going into this style of singing when I started doing it, I had a bit of like natural ability to go higher just based on my physicality. But it took many years of like slow, intentional, methodical practice to get it to sound like good.
Well, yeah, and you've had coaches before too, right? Like to help you through that stuff.
Yeah. I've been working. I've been studying opera now for probably like 5 or 6 years now at this point. And I've had vocal coaches in the past. But before the injury, a lot of it was trial and error and just kind of based off of previous experience from I hadn't been actively like working with a coach for a long time. And I think I really just kind of pushed myself too far, and I wasn't doing what I needed to do. I wasn't listening to my body.
And
like all of us, I was aging. And when you hit certain milestones in your life, your voice changes. And I was trying to do things at 35 that I could do at like 23. But when I and now I'm almost 40, and it's like, well, okay, now I have to like really pay attention to where things are going and stuff like that. So a lot of it is really just getting out of that like I'm invincible, I can sing whatever I want whenever mindset, and really paying more attention to the body, the voice as a physical instrument, much like an athlete does. You wouldn't see a professional football player like going out and playing a full game without stretching and warming up and at least working out for a week in advance. And so you wouldn't expect a professional singer to do the same. You'd have to really have to pay attention to what you're doing. So
okay. Well, I need to. I was gonna say I need to get my singing in check because I've been worried because lately I have not been able to crack into the falsetto and the head singing. Is that what you called it? It is scaring me. I'm like, oh god, I like doing this. I want to be able to get up there, but again, like you said, you age, your voice box changes and stuff, and I just gotta practice and do those stretches. So
well, and the thing I would say is it's you're not gonna. You can hear singers that have kept their range perfectly for the majority of their life. You can hear people that sing now and they're 70 years old and they sound not exactly like they sounded when they were 30, but they sound pretty darn close. And those are the people who've done the work to keep their voice in check, they stretch, they work, they essentially work out their voice. The way that I like to talk about singing and prepping the voice is it's like going to the gym. It's like any other muscle. It's your voice box is literally a muscle, right? So if you wanted to lift heavier objects, you would go to the gym and you'd get a weightlifting routine. You wouldn't walk in there fresh off of the weekend and expect to bench press 250 pounds, when you've never bench pressed, over 150 or whatever.
The
right?
bar
So
alone.
So you gotta work you up to it. It's got to be very mindful, very, very methodical. And if you want to keep bench pressing 250 pounds, you got to keep doing the work as your body changes and ages. So
I'm just kind of imagining you in the garage, and I don't know if you live with any, if you have a family or whatever, but someone discovering you just belting it as big as humanly possible. Is that what it's like? Do you have a special place?
My whenever I record things, especially Lord's stuff, or just anything with a lot of high. So I'm doing a bunch of guest vocals for a bunch of albums coming out in 24. Yeah. And whenever I do that, I wait until it's my wife's turn to go to work, because we alternate working from home, and
that's awesome.
The funny story about that actually is I just finished all the vocals for a new EP, which is probably going to be coming out in April or May or maybe even sooner. But I was working on this one song that had a bunch of really high vocals, and it was over and over. It was over and over kind of stuff. My wife calls me up in the middle of recording. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Why? What's going on?" She's like, I got the alerts from our security cameras that the CO2 detectors have been going off in the basement, and she's like, "Do you hear any beeping? I just wanted to make sure you weren't dead, because you're or the carbon monoxide, not the CO detectors, right?" So we have a bunch of the home security cameras, and they intelligently can hear the beeping.
God.
And so we looked back at the video where it says carbon monoxide detected, and it was literally me going over and over. So,
just filling the air with the carbon dioxide from inside,
hitting those notes,
depleting.
So she was she doesn't like to be upstairs when I'm screaming in the basement, and so she we wait until she goes to work.
That's smart. We have another track for you guys. This next track we got for you guys is Feed the Wolves, and this is where it starts to get a little iffy in the story. Well, I guess something happens between track 2 and 3, or 3 and 4, right? Isn't this where he becomes the guardian of a town?
Yeah, he becomes
I think that might happen in between tracks.
Yeah, so Charlatan, like I said, Charlatan was the first song that we wrote and for this album, and it was kind of based off of that idea of for those of you who played The Witcher, the Witcher will walk into a pub, and then some guy will challenge him not realizing that he's like, like
Oh,
five,
yeah, yeah.
five. It's like, like a level 1 dude coming up to a level 99 dude and be like, you see, you think you're tough. And it's just like, oh my God, go away. So that was like the general idea of Charlatan is these guys that like, are very boisterous and they think they're all tough. So this was written, during the timeline of kind of like the Guardian working his way up from being the Guardian of like smaller villages to larger towns. And finally he gets essentially he gets promoted during his tenure of these villages. And he gets promoted to be the Guardian of the capital city. And
he was doing such a good job. That's what the guy says.
I think I must have missed that one little bit. Okay,
yeah,
he's in the capital city,
and so life was a lot easier for him when he was just beating up idiots and ruffians that were causing trouble in these small little villages.
Yeah,
but now he's in a city that has essentially organized crime, and so now his whole dilemma and problem. Is that like
he doesn't know what to do?
Well,
these aren't
and like
literal wolves.
These are not literal wolves. No, this is like a gang, essentially a gang called the Wolves.
Okay, so I did think that there was a little magic, and I think it was the wolves. I thought that these were actual wolves.
No,
and like a werewolf
gangs
situation.
in New York. These are the wolves.
Yeah. It's just like a gang called the Wolves.
Yeah.
So
I
the
thought I was
question.
thinking sentient wolves. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
The question to him now is like how much does he intervene?
Yeah.
Organized crime is bad, but
balance.
The guy says that like in that YouTube video that you sent me, like that we watched. Like he says like he doesn't know what to do. Because the wolves are like part of the society. And he's not sure like how much he should intervene versus what what he wants to do.
The way I kind of approached the wolves in writing, like writing this part was essentially like the Yakuza in Japan. Organized crime in general is like objectively bad. But the Yakuza in Japan, at least like in the olden days before the Japanese government cracked down on it, did provide some semblance of kind of street order where they would, they did crime, but they kept like worse crime out, if that makes sense,
like you don't come in town and fuck around because they would just
they kept a handle on crime. So like, Japan is a very, very safe country. You can walk around the streets at night. And part of that was like, also, you wouldn't get like mugged because the Yakuza were basically running the streets and they wouldn't allow that. So, if you were a low level criminal trying to mug people, they would like put the hurt on you pretty quick.
Shit.
That's the whole idea. It's like, okay, well, these organized criminals are causing harm, but like, what do I do? And that's the whole dilemma essentially.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a little bit of Feed the Wolves.
And just fantastic drumming too. God, every song.
Yeah.
So good.
Master Herc is a machine.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
God, man.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say how he's been around in the band since 2017. It looks like
2017. Yep.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact: he is the only drummer that we've ever had to be on more than one record.
Oh yeah, well I was gonna say I was looking at the timeline earlier. I love that you have a timeline on your Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And yeah. The drummer is definitely at the most.
You're definitely approaching Spinal Tap territory then.
Yeah, it's the dark against the what was it? Defense Against the Dark Arts of Lords of the Trident. Currently.
Yeah.
Do you think that this one's going to carry over to the next one?
Oh God, I hope so. Listen, the band, the current lineup of the band is the strongest we've ever been, and I want this to be the final lineup. I don't want to ever change anybody ever.
Yeah.
B, do you know how much money I've spent on band photos? I do never again. I never want to take another freaking group photo shoot. Never, I'm so good at this point. I think I'm so good at like making the faces for the group photo shoots. The photographers are always like, "Oh, you've done this before." I'm like, "Many times. Please God, let this be the last." Oh.
Yeah. That shit does get old.
Yeah.
Because you have to I don't know, be the best version of you or whatever. I don't know. It's more about like every time we take new group photos, I have to change our photos everywhere on all the social media sites, and it's just, oh my God, it takes so long. It's terrible. So, oh man, you could just do what I did with our ending theme. I just re-edit it every time we a new member. We have had a little bit of a turnover at the album concept hour for our fourth guy. So I've had to change the outro bit a few times.
The three of us, we've been here since the beginning.
And
we always.
This last time I did it, it's so obvious and abrupt that I just edited out the last little bit. And I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. That's it. I don't even care. It says it's like Brad, Dave, and John, and an awkward pause, and then it's Anyway,
I'm missing in action.
But yeah, the wolves are feeding on the citizens of the town, and he's not sure whether he should be intervening, like we've talked about. But there's something that happens that kind of forces his hand.
Oh yeah,
and let's just get into it. Carry the weight. We'll listen to this and we'll talk about what happened.
They killed a child, right?
Yeah, the wolves killed a kid.
Yeah. They had a new recruit in the wolves, and he was a bloodthirsty, new recruit, and he goes overboard even by the wolves' standards and kills a child. And this is kind of the breaking point for the Guardian, where he's like, I knew I should have done something. Now I know I have to do something. And not only that, but like the entire city, like he murders this child very publicly, and the entire city essentially is witness to this. And so it's compounded that the Guardian now feels like, he should have done something and he didn't. And now the entire city essentially is blaming him and saying, well, what's even the point?
Like, what are you gonna do? Like, what?
Are
you even going to do anything?
What exactly are you, what exactly is the point of having a Guardian around if, like, this organized crime can just willy-nilly kill children publicly and, it's easy for a person to take a 10,000-foot view and say, oh, the balance is more important, but that is impossible to do when you're on the ground and it's like your child that's been killed, right?
Oh yeah.
So
well, that's the difficulty.
Well, especially a child, like it really is hard to do when it's a child,
right?
Like, in general, because it's like. Adults, well, there's a lot of things you can, you look at an adult and look at their life and look at what they've done or what they haven't done, blah, blah, blah.
Poor choices.
But it's exactly, but it's like.
Because adults are tainted.
When anyone kills a child, that's really difficult for the grounds people to just be like.
Unacceptable.
People on the ground, just like, well, that's a child. Like, why would you, that is a tragedy. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And to his credit, he is carrying, that weight. He is feeling the, guilt for seemingly allowing that to happen. But
that's when the Sidiouses come in.
Well, I was about to say this is like right now he is in the right. You know what I mean? He's still kind of in the right. He hasn't quite like flipped that switch in his head yet to go full Mad King. But he's like, he's
questioning.
This job is hard, He's realizing how hard the job is, and he doesn't quite have it fully figured out.
To do it for a full ass city,
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
especially
right.
the capital city. You know, it's a big town. Big
Mhm.
towns have a lot of
A lot of cogs in that machine.
cogs. Usually there's more crime in bigger towns. You know,
Mhm.
statistically,
Yeah, more people.
there's
More
more
people.
people. Exactly.
More crime.
But yeah. It's I like that you can really feel the emotion in the track. You can feel him kind of going through that. The character going through that.
Mhm.
And then we get to kind of the inciting incident of the the title of the album. This is Offering to the Void. Wait, Offering to the Void.
Yep.
There's a crowd at the edge of the void, pushing together, and the gods to make sure.
Yeah, this is when like he's getting seduced, right? Like,
No. This is when all the people.
oh,
No. That
okay,
comes
okay,
in a little
okay.
bit.
Right.
No, this is when
bad.
all the people are pissed off and they're like, "You didn't save the kid, dude. What the hell?" And
The mob
they're
goes nuts.
they decided to tear down his statue and throw it into a pit of some kind.
Oh.
Yeah. These are strong villagers,
Like,
by
fuck
the way.
this guy.
Or just a lot of them.
Or a lot of them. Yeah.
Many
Yeah.
many
They
Hey,
were,
hands
listen,
make light
there
work.
is strength amongst numbers.
they're very determined to take this guy down. After what happened.
Or at least that statue.
Yeah. Was it? So is it a statue of a guardian or
It's
him?
sort of like it's sort of like Lady Justice, right? So it'd be
Okay,
like the
okay.
same as like somebody tearing down a statue of Lady Justice and tossing it into a big
the
pit.
Statue of Liberty kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not necessarily meant to represent him, but it's meant to represent like
The
the
whole-
idea of the Guardians.
Yeah. Okay. So they're like losing faith in this
They're losing
idea
faith in
of
the system.
judiciary of the Guardians, kind of.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
this track. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like watching. He's just like sitting on the outskirts, kind of watching it all happen,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not really knowing what to do. So yeah.
Yeah.
This is the big moment, I suppose, seeing that statue fall into the void.
Well, yeah, and this is what turned like where he kind of becomes a villain, I think, in his mind, because I don't know, he lets this.
He hasn't quite become a villain yet.
This
though.
is where the
It really
Well,
it
this is
really
where,
it
like-
really is the seduction
The
to me
turning
that like
point.
turns him into the villain.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think the rich dudes?
I think the
are
rich
kind of what
dudes
twist
like
him?
because if you remember, it really is like because after he does it, he becomes kind of a hero again, and even the other guardians kind of see him restoring order and see it as kind of a win. So this is not quite when he becomes the villain yet. It's
Okay.
kind of after
dig that.
success.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
that he becomes the villain.
Corrupted.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. In my opinion.
So right now
You're
he's
the writer of the song. That is
yes.
that is just my opinion.
No,
of what
I
heard.
love hearing the interpretations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so the way that I'm over the next couple songs, right? Carry the Weight is kind of like the traumatic event that pisses
Yeah.
off the city and
Yeah.
is like the spark, right?
Mhm.
And then Offering to the Void is kind of like the fire that the spark has started.
Yeah.
And for me, the way that I view the character's kind of arc here is like this is the thing that starts him like very seriously questioning
Yeah.
his effectiveness, not only as a guardian, as a person, as a protector. He starts questioning basically his morality told him that something needed to be done, but his belief system told him that he needed to pay more attention to the balance than his own sense of right and wrong. And now after the entire city gets pissed and tears down the Guardian statue, this is really the moment where
He really doesn't know what to do.
he starts questioning if I should be listening to the balance, if I should be listening to myself, exactly what I should be doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
It's his what's the term in storytelling is long night of the soul. Is that a thing?
I'll take it.
Yeah. That sounds right. It sounds good.
Yeah.
This is like you were saying, John, this is kind of got some of the classic hero's journey stuff going on. And speaking of hero's journey, we got this next track, Champion, which I think is getting into some of the stuff you were maybe talking about, John.
The lofty doctrine of our clan, consumed by the flames. I am changing, becoming what you see me to be. The monster you have made has finally swallowed me.
We'll get there in a second.
Man, that delay is killing us.
Yeah, I know this delay's crazy. That was Champion. It's what was it? This is, I think, kind of where he is starting to turn now. I think because he's starting to kind of just be more harsh in general in this section. I think, and I don't know. I guess I'm curious why it's called Champion. What's the titling for this track?
Well, at the end of the chorus, it basically ends with like, I am not their champion. So
okay, so he's renouncing.
So the chorus is, if they die by my hand, has the light forsaken them? So it's like, well, essentially what he's asking there is, he's like, if I kill them instead of like just letting something happen to them, is that the balance working through me? And then the final part of it is turned into beasts. Turned into beasts, no longer men. I am not their champion. And that's him essentially reflecting on the people's behavior and like ripping down not understanding where he's coming from, not understanding what he's trying to do. So on one side of it, he's questioning the balance. On the other side of it, he's questioning the people. It's basically a lot of like,
life's tough.
Life is tough. He's turning jaded. He's turning, he's questioning all these things that he's grown up with and lived with.
Well, and it seems like he's kind of taking that kind of dangerous turn where it's like, I don't trust the people anymore. I trust what I believe and what I think is right for the people.
It's really tough, because it's like he was really raised by these like to believe a certain way, and now he's just like thrown into the fire. And the fire went a certain way for him, and now he's like he got promoted. He did the right things, and now he's like doing the thing, and he's all on his own.
He did all the right things.
He's all on his own, and like there's no one helping him. Yeah, and he's like he's supposed to be doing this on his own, and he just doesn't. He just doesn't know, and he just. It's really about the adult's journey almost, But like obviously he has a much tougher journey than most of us still, but like still, it's like he's really on this tough adult journey, and he has to make his own decisions. And this is really where it's coming to a head.
And he's got he's if you think about like the backstory that he's experienced. I mean, he was sold off by his parents, old enough to know that he was being sold off. He was essentially left to die in this castle surrounded by these guardians who essentially, were waiting for him to die. He was run away. They say, fine, we'll put him through acolyte training. If that doesn't kill him, then whatever. He finally meets up with like a master who essentially is kind of like a parental figure who starts, teaching him right and wrong or the ways of the balance essentially. And he goes full bore into it, right? He goes really hardcore into it. He raises in the ranks really quickly, and he thinks he knows and he thinks he knows what he's doing, and then he's thrown into these situations that have no real clear answer, and then mistakes happen.
And they thought he would be okay doing that because he was.
Yeah,
and it's
and so now
it's
there's so much more. There's so much more of a foundation that has been crumbled underneath him than like a normal person would have. That obviously this is a lot more traumatic for him than like someone else. So yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think that like resentment that he may have towards like people could come from the fact that he was a slave again. Similar to Anakin Skywalker. I think that's part of why he had a low opinion of others and was able to do some of the things that he did is because he's working through trauma or whatever. You know what I mean?
He also had midichlorian counts, so
he had that crazy midichlorian
can't judge
count.
all that based on the.
I was gonna put it in the lyrics, but you just can't.
Yeah.
I can't rhyme metachlorian with anything
It's
else.
tough.
It's
Right,
terrible.
of course.
Yeah. Best to leave that on the cutting room floor.
It's suggested.
Yeah. But you know what? Let's take a quick break. Actually, I see we have 6 tracks left. We're about halfway through, and when we get back, he starts to become our hero starts to become influenced by the powers that be, and we get to see kind of what that looks like. So, join us on the other side of this break with Ty from Lords of the Trident on the Album Concept Hour. Hey guys, Brad here. Just chiming in to let you know that the Flyover State Park Patreon at patreon.com/FlyoverStatePark finally has some exclusive content. But it's not all good news. Spotify, which hosts our podcast, has been cracking down on copyright, and they're taking down more and more of our episodes. Their system to dispute those claims is non-existent, and so far 9 episodes have been taken down, including our Kendrick Lamar episodes, the Killers episodes, our discussion on Marina and the Diamonds, and several more. As the copyright police continue to ignore fair use guidelines, there might be a day when the Album Concept Hour is exclusively on Patreon. As much as I love doing this for free, it's extremely disheartening to spend hours and hours creating something that never sees the light of day. If you are someone that enjoys hearing us rattle on about music, we need your support. All we ask is $1 a month to support the podcast, the YouTube channel, and me, a 35-year-old man that's desperate to succeed at something that they love. Anyway, thank you for all the support, and enjoy the rest of the episode. Welcome back to the Album Concept Hour. When we left off, our hero, he was having some troubles still, kind of starting to have a what am I trying to say?
Crisis of conscience.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. All right. But unfortunately, he is visited by these the wealthy folk in the area, or the upper class, or something. I'm not exactly sure who they are, but here is a little bit
I think
of
it is the wealthy class,
the invitation.
Love that little instrumental track.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yes, they.
And this might be a dumb question, but what's that instrument that's emulating?
That is actually a harpsichord, and that is an actual harpsichord.
Oh, it's
Yep.
a real harpsichord. Oh, wow.
Yep.
I don't know why I thought it was like just a keyboard. Probably just because I thought that would be easier. But yeah, cool, nice. And use it a little bit on the next track too, right?
We did, yeah. The harpsichord is featured pretty prominently on Dancing Control.
Yeah, I love that. Using that as like a shorthand for the kind of upper class money bag people in their society or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great little interlude to the next track. But But yeah, that one's all instrumental. If you're listening, that's so lyrically, there's not much to go on. But
Yep, and that is a reimagining of Bach's Little Fugue, the Little Fugue in G minor.
All right. I was
So
gonna
if
say,
that sounds familiar to any classical music fans out there, it should.
okay, all right, good. I was gonna say I couldn't put my finger on it. I am not a classically trained music person, but I was like, I definitely have heard that. But yeah, so it sets the stage for this next track that you're going to hear, which is Dance of Control.
Blinded to the strings they tie that force you to dance. Drowning in their crimson wine, it permeates your soul. Manifest the tempo of your mind, caught in the dance of control.
Yeah, I really like that harpsichord guitar solo double thing. That was nice.
I
Yeah.
think Dance of Control is like I think it's my favorite song on the album.
Yeah? Yeah?
It was my favorite song when we were writing the album, and I was like, the album's full of really great songs, but I just personally, I think this is my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, this one kind of reminded me of I guess this point in the album started to remind me a little bit of Operation Mindcrime and Queensryche a little bit, because they are so good at describing the story and explaining the maybe several layers of what's going on, rather than taking the cryptic route.
Yeah.
Plenty of concept albums take the cryptic route and don't fully tell you the story. They just kind of dick around with it and then give you a mystery box at the end or something.
Sure.
But
sure.
yeah, I like that this is a start to finish, this is a story album. And so this is when he gets kind of tempted. This is his temptation.
Well, this
from
is they
powers
want
that
him.
be.
They want him to do what they want him to do,
Yeah.
and it just really feels like the right thing to do. Because it's
Sounds
kind of
like
what
it.
he wanted to do from the whole. They want him to take control
Yeah.
because they
Well, and
they
also-
want him to take control. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
This is your album.
yeah, you're 100% right. But I would also add on top of that, it's sort of a rich person thing where it's like, hey, guardians are not supposed to be able to be bribed or influenced, or
Right.
they're not
Yeah.
even supposed to come to rich people parties. And so it's
Yeah.
like, well, we have this golden opportunity to flex our rich people muscle and we could actually possibly bribe this guy now and make him do what we want him to do, because
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
It's supposed to be what the good guy's supposed to do in the first
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. And the whole the problem for the rich people is that the organized crime, the wolves are predominantly affecting their businesses, because organized crime basically hits business, and the rich people owns the business. So it's like, well, clearly it would be in everybody's interest if you got rid of these these wolves,
Dirty
'cause
wolves.
you would be doing this. You'd be doing this anyway because it's the right thing to do, right guy? So yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. They're trying to do that.
and I heard on the street that it was actually the powers that be that planted that wolf, and
Ooh,
made him.
there's a twist.
I'm just saying, that's what I've heard on the street.
The Wolf of Wall Street?
Oh.
if you will, if you will.
It's a fancy
Um,
town.
But I just heard it was an op. That's all I'll say. All right. It's weird that he would find himself with all these wealthy folks, knowing he's not supposed to be hanging out with them like this. But I think he knows, maybe deep down, I don't know, maybe they can help him, and so he's susceptible to the.
Well, yeah,
he's
the
in a
whole-
vulnerable place.
The whole idea of leading with the invitation, with that sort of nice
that's
little
true. Yeah.
bright sort of fuguey and harpsichordy sort of a thing, is it's just sort of these rich people are from his perspective lending him a place to
Lending him a
relax
voice.
and letting him an opportunity to actually just kind of relax and vent his troubles and have someone listen to him.
Yeah.
but they obviously have ulterior motives, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
They're like
that sort of
feeding him
like
drinks.
As all rich people do.
Yeah. This is like that one scene in Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band where he where dude gives everyone in the room like crazy drugs and then they sign a contract. Yeah, it's a classic scene.
The classic drug story.
But yeah, and then eventually, yeah, he like you were saying, like he spills kind of his troubles, and they're like, well, we can help you with
We
that.
can help,
you know,
yeah.
we have resources, us
Deep pockets.
wealthy folks, aristocrats. That's the word, right?
That is a word for this.
Yeah. But then, yeah, so he kind of starts to, I don't know, become their hired hand, if you will, in trying to take care of what's going on in the town. And yeah, I got a great music video too. I'm not sure where you shot that, but it was really cool.
Oh, Dance of Control.
Yeah.
That was in the Pain, which is a mansion in Oshkosh, actually.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
my goodness.
Yeah.
That's
It was a nice like backdrop for your outside shots, and looks like it has some nice big spooky rooms.
Yeah, it was really difficult getting to shoot. Like there's no mansions in like Wisconsin, except for like that one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a few, but there's
Lake
none that
Geneva.
really like none that look the part, and so trying to get they'd never had anyone ever want to shoot a music video at the Pain before, so like kind of getting that idea, nonetheless a metal band, so getting that kind of floating that concept to them that we weren't terrible and scary. It was a bit of a ordeal, but we did it. So
yeah, and
quite a good job.
Yeah. I was gonna say the results speak for themselves.
Thank you.
But yeah, we have another track for you guys. This next track is These Tower Walls, and yeah, this is when I think, in my opinion, you kind of fully
go down to the deep end.
Yeah, he stops kind of paying attention to balance at all, and is just kind of mad. I don't know. Here is These Tower Walls.
No more praying in vain. I am your savior. Call out my name. For the good of us all, I demand that you come below. Mercy be not. I yield a hand. Now I will drive them to the
Yeah, mercy be damned.
Well, what I like about this is that, like, at first it seems like he's like, it's like even the elders on top of the mountain kind of seem like it seems like he's doing the right thing at first, and they kind of see order being restored, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, well maybe like he's doing his job,
Yeah, you're talking about the other champions looking down on him.
Yeah. You know, and it takes a minute to realize that he's like really going down the deep end.
The rabbit hole.
On a really dark path.
Yeah. He's going to the dark side.
Yeah.
Of the force.
And building this giant tower thing, this tower church thing, cathedral.
Well, so that's always been there. I mean, they essentially there was a guardian. There's a guardian tower in the middle of the city where where he resides.
Right, that's where he was always like. That's where he always was.
And that's where
Looking
they
over.
essentially chiseled the statue off of the wall. So essentially, the whole idea of it is like he's looking down upon the city, and he's like, now he's made up his mind. The words of the aristocrats have kind of are echoing in his head, and he's decided. He's like, all right, I know what's right and wrong.
I'm the man.
Yeah, forget this whole balance shit. Like, I know what is right. I know what should have been done. I'm going to use the powers that people have given me, and I'm going to clean this city up. And that's what he decides to do.
I'm Batman.
Yeah,
At first he kind of does it, and then he just.
Yeah.
He just goes overboard with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
always.
Well, he like gives over to like that, authoritarian kind of
He's
good
taking
thing.
the reverse hero's
That's a
journey.
good idea
kind
on
of
paper.
thing, you know.
And there's a line that's running through the chorus in the background. You rule by conscription. Our choice is over.
Yep.
So yeah. It's like straight up like he's like turned it into martial law up in this city. Yeah, he thinks that he wrongfully thinks that this is somehow going to help the balance or something. But I don't, I think he's just blinded. He doesn't know what's up and down anymore.
He's blinded by the light and the darkness.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Blinded by
He doesn't-
the light.
Exactly.
So yeah, he's really put up walls too, as far as the title goes. It's tower walls. It's between him and the rest of
He's
society.
got all Pink Floyd on us now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then we get to this next track where he goes full Ganondorf mode is what I wrote down. This is Power of Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Heroes never learn. Building my
Just one of my dark days.
Yeah, I like that breakdown a lot.
Yeah, that's a really fun one. A lot of people. That's I think that's kind of like one of the singles.
Yeah.
Off
Is
the
that when
album.
the pit opens up a little bit live?
Oh yeah. That would.
Seems like
a
a
lot
good
of
moment
lot
for
of people
that.
love that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's called Power of Evil too. I mean, he's fully. This is like fully embracing the
The darks.
darkness and the Mad King vibe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The laugh and everything. I also love the music video for this one. This one's got a really, really cool music video. The where you put on like white outfits and then there's like a projector on top of your outfits of you guys.
I made a music video for the video nerds.
Yeah.
So like the whole purpose of that music video and the purpose of the standard thing to do for bands is when you come out with an album, you have one or two regular music videos, and then you have a lyric video. And this has been kind of like the standard for maybe the last, I don't know, 8 to 10 years, right? Everybody comes out with a lyric video. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think lyric videos are super duper boring. I haven't seen too many lyric videos where I'm like, that was actually kind of cool. I think they're like, I'll watch maybe like a minute of them and then I'll be like, all right, and I'll go to a different tab and I'll have it playing in the background, but I'm not like actively watching it. So what I did to remedy that on the last record on Shadows from the Past, we did a lyric music video, but I programmed, I made some JavaScript and I put it inside of After Effects to automatically programmatically change everything in the scene to like fire. So I was able to programmatically change people's faces and like people playing guitars and the words that were coming on the screen to fire. And we did that for Burn It Down, the song Burn It Down with Fire. Okay. For this one, so like the theme that I want to go with here is like I'm making a lyric music video, but it's actually like way more than a lyric music video. So you'll notice that like this essentially is a lyric video because it is just lyrics playing on the background with a bunch of like album art, but it's also us projected on top of ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
it's really like trippy and like fun to like watch, like rewatch, you know what I mean?
It's really, really weird. And it's, it turned out exactly like I wanted it to. But it was one of those videos that was like, I made it for the video nerds out there, who really want to go like, oh my God. Because if you think about it, I ended up to make one music video. I ended up having to make 4 different music videos and layered them on top of each other.
Yeah.
So
you put a lot into that one. Because at one point you put your clothing or a clothing piece over the camera, and then it transitions into an actual live show without your white outfits on.
Right.
But really, really just cool idea for a video. Like, it was just, I was just,
Thank you.
Really, really impressed. I enjoyed your YouTube a lot, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
And you guys have so many videos. You guys got like almost two and some change.
I have a problem.
You've been at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm looking right now. I think our total amount of videos that we put out is something like, I don't know, 300 or something like that. So
you have a very, very healthy YouTube channel. Yeah,
we've been doing a little bit. So
yeah. And if you want to go see clips of what's the Mad
with Power Fest.
Mad with Power Fest. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Do you think that after doing Mad with Power Fest for so many years, you made an album about a dude that was mad with power?
Oh, there you go. There's the tie-in.
Yeah. This is the Mad with Power album.
I suppose you're right. Yeah.
This is a concept, Brad.
The concept album.
Oh.
One of the things that starts to appear here. So speaking of Power of Evil and like the concept behind it.
Yeah.
So Grant Truesdell from the band Unleash the Archers is a guest vocalist on this one, and he's doing the dirty vocals or the screaming vocals in it.
Oh.
And essentially, those dirty vocals, those screaming vocals, are the sense of, or like the evil in him sort of taking over. You see this pops up like once really quickly in these tower walls. There's like one little part where all of a sudden there's a little bit of dirty vocals in the background. Right.
Okay.
And so that's the evil. And then in Power of Evil, there's a lot more of it. And that's the evil starting to grow and grow and grow. And then on the next song, it's basically taken over by these.
It's
dirty
like the
vocals.
Evil Dead.
Yeah, I was wondering like what
evil's growing,
because the next track there is a lot of a different vocal in there. Like, who is that again? You just mentioned it. But.
Grant Truesdell from Unleash the Archers.
Unleash the Archers. Okay,
Yep.
okay. Well, he did a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to hear a little bit of that? Then this is the Blade, and I think I have that clip for this one. So here is the Blade.
My master slain, no absolution for me, no solace for my
See, this
All
is
right, so I didn't get the voice. All right,
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
So there's two.
this is
If you listen really closely to it, there's essentially 2 or 3 characters in this.
Okay,
there's
2 or 3. Interesting.
Well, depends on how you. So there's a person singing. It's all me except for the dirty vocals. But when you hear like the low laryngeal position, so like singing down, kind of down here, very kind of low laryngeal. So that's supposed to be the master. And then when it's up in the higher laryngeal position, when he's like, up here, like this kind of a voice, with the dirty vocals behind it, that is your guardian, right? So, but he is in this scene, he is essentially completely taken over by evil.
Well, I was gonna say, can I say, because like I did notice that. I noticed that right off the bat, like that it was like 2 different vocals, because like
a conversation.
It was definitely a conversation, because like you definitely knew that like the master was like, hey, all right, listen, like we can do this together, we can we can figure this out. Like, I know you did wrong, but like if you take my hand, we could figure this out.
Put
and
your
we
little
can
hand
put
in
this
mine."
right. And he was like, fuck that. Like I already know. I know what I'm doing. And he was like, come on, like, like you're not gone yet. Like we can figure this out. And he just kept going down the wrong path until
He's chosen poorly.
until he chose poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you find yourself on a lava planet and your pregnant girlfriend is mad at you.
Well, I it's like I was saying, like especially because of like the YouTube video you showed me, the moment I heard like him talking like his deep ethereal voice, and then like this song came on, all I heard was like, I have brought peace and eternity to my empire. Your empire.
Yeah. This
isn't supposed to be your empire, like.
Yeah, definitely. This is like the Mustafar scene, if there is one. Because although the twist would be in this one that it'd be if Obi-Wan died at the end rather than Darth.
And that's what I liked about it so much, actually.
Well, and poor choice of words on the Master's side. He's like, give me the blade. Fine, I'll give you the blade. Ha!
I do love that he kills him with a little quip. I love that for the Mad King collector or guardian guy.
It
like
was too vague.
He's funny. He might be insane and evil, but he's got a sense of humor.
He's got a funny bone.
He's But then
He's got open mic.
He pretty quickly regretted it though. He was
as soon as he did it, he realized it's almost like what would have happened. If Anakin would have killed Obi-Wan, would that have happened? Maybe, I'm sorry.
Killing his brother.
That's me and my
I just
Star
hear like
Wars
David
brain.
Byrne.
I'm
My
sorry.
God, what have I done?
God, what have I done?
What have I done?
But yeah, it's a really sad set of events. His master clearly wants to salvage this if he can and try.
Boy, he tries
bring him
to salvage it so hard.
But he's obviously too far gone. He's speaking in a whole different voice now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
and for the voice nerds out there, if you pay very close attention, I said the Master I was singing in low laryngeal position, the Guardian I was singing in high
I did
laryngeal.
Notice that for the record.
Yeah.
As a voice nerd.
And the
We have it
Guardian
on
I was
the
singing
record,
in
John.
high laryngeal position with the dirty vocals behind it. When he snaps out of it and returns back to realizes that he's killed his master, I go back to neutral position, which is a mix of high and low. So it's almost like the master and the evil kind of come back to balance.
He's shooken up by what has just occurred and what he was just capable of doing, to who is essentially, maybe a father figure for him or something.
Yeah, definitely a father figure. Yeah.
And then we have this tragic conclusion of the story in Heart of Ashes. So let's hear a little bit of that.
I stand at the edge of the void, money on a destroy, burn down to ashes.
Yeah, you guys end this one strong. This one's got a nice like medley of sounds in the last track.
Finish.
We I came to the Baron about this and I said, we hadn't written the last song. We'd written a lot of these other songs. And I said, for the last song, what I'd really like to do is I'd like to do something like a medley, where we incorporate a bunch of different motifs that we've used throughout the album and bring them back for Heart of Ashes and kind of lean on a bit of Offering to the Void, for that. and so people who really dig into the melodies behind the vocal melodies, the guitar melodies and that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
you can hear multiple layers and multiple reimaginings of almost every song on the album
Yeah.
in this last song. So it's really
Yeah.
he outdid himself on this one. It was really compositionally it was a feat. It was really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that, and I think that it definitely shows. Like, I think every great power metal group or power rock group that you have does this at some point. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely something that you gotta to be taken seriously by the other power metal enthusiasts. Maybe they want to see this at some point. That being said, I was wondering. I was listening to a little bit of Van Halen earlier today, and I was wondering, when are you guys going to go through your synth phase for power metal?
Oh, soon, I hope. I love the synth phase.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're seven albums in now. It's never too late.
We gotta get our dreams, our dreams Van Halen thing going.
Yeah. Because
I did a cover of that. It's on the YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was listening to like Seventh Son of the Seventh Son, Iron Maiden, and that's got a decent amount of synth, and it was like, it's like a particular turning point for the genre. But yeah, this was a really, really fun way to end the album. It's kind of
So I have a question.
kind of a
Does
Romeo
he,
Juliet type of ending, if I can gather that. But
does he end himself in this song? Is that what
he-
I was gathering?
Yeah,
Yeah, he-
I think they call it unalive on the internet.
Yes. He unalives himself.
Which I don't know why, but
See, I knew it.
I don't know why that's better. But
I swear to God, because I was listening to the YouTube version that you sent me,
yeah,
and the guy comes on and he does his little thing,
Spiel.
yeah.
and spiel, and I was like, oh, is he gonna unalive himself after this? And then I listened to the song and I was like, I do it.
So
Yeah.
he throws himself into the void
Ugh.
in the same way that the people of the city threw the guardian statue into the
Right.
void.
Yeah. He's essentially like, they were
Yep.
right.
They were right.
They were right. I
I
suck.
knew it. I knew it. Ugh.
But yeah,
This
he
is such a great album, bro.
I like
by the
that
way.
I like that it does have that kind of bittersweet ending, because not
Well, it fits. It
not all
fits very
albums
well.
are brave enough to do that.
We were worried because I was like prefacing all of the fans that were like, they'd tune into like the live streams that we do during COVID,
yeah,
and I'd be like,
yeah.
so this next album is it's kind of sad. I'm just it's not going to be a
But
happy
it's good
time.
though. It really
Yeah,
is
yeah,
good though.
It's not gonna be sunshine and rainbows at the end of this
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
But it really is a good album. It really is a good ending to a very good album.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
want you to know.
Really, really fun. And
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask one more thing before we get to our last segment. What are your thoughts on a band like a predecessor type band like Dragon Force? And follow-up question: why are you better?
We actually played with Dragon Force before, and they were extremely nice.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Not only were they we got to play with Dragon Force, or I should say, the Baron got to do a guest solo with Dragon Force in Milwaukee,
Ooh.
and they were extremely nice. They invited us up to their green room after the show, which
Yeah.
they very much did not have to do.
Yeah.
And Sam and Herman are the two guitarists, right?
Yeah.
So Sam gave us beers from their beer fridge, and we just sat and
Hell yeah.
talked for a good while. And Herman joined us, and then he needed to go take a shower, and it was like,
Yeah.
so it was like, they definitely did not have to extend that
yeah.
invitation, and they did, which was very, very nice.
That's awesome. I had no idea you guys had actually played. Like, that seems like a dream show. You guys, I'm
Yeah.
assuming opening.
That's really cool.
Like, yeah, that would be
it
such
was-
a good set.
It was very surreal. And yeah, I mean, and the Baron killed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroyed it. He was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
You didn't want to be, thought of in a bad way after playing in front of those guys.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that we're better. I'd say that we're just we're just different.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to hang out with Dragon Force again. That may be a distinct. I don't want
Yeah.
to say too much, but that may be a distinct possibility for the future. We'll see.
Well, I mean, what goes better than Lords of the Trident and Dragon Force? I don't know. That's
I don't know.
that
I don't
just-
know either.
That just seems like a no brainer.
A match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder who your opener would be, though. You know what I mean? That's what's missing.
Us and Dragon Force. I mean, like, I don't know, man. I think we'd be the opener.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, what would a third then the next up for the fantasy themed groups out there? I know there's several.
Oh,
but-
Fellowship, probably. I'd say.
Okay.
I'd say,
Okay.
yeah, Fellowship from the UK, probably.
yeah.
Another band. Another band for your list because they
Yeah.
did a concept record that there was their first record they came out with, and they actually wrote a book to go with the concept record.
Damn.
Whoa.
Yeah,
God
they
damn.
go hardcore.
Yeah. That's rare. That does happen every now and again, but it's
Mhm.
not very often that you get the book along with it.
Yeah,
Um,
they are also coming to Mad with Power next year. So if you guys want
dang.
to hook up with them, you guys got to come to Mad with Power. So that's what I'm
Dude.
saying.
Yeah. It's apparently gonna be stacked this coming year.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's always stacked.
yeah, stacks like the guitar stacks, right?
Stack away.
Exactly.
Yeah. The last thing we do before we get out of here, though, is we go around the horn and find out what everyone's been listening to lately, and if you got anything to plug it. We'll start with you, Dave, and then go to John, me, and we'll end with our guest, Fang VonWrathenstein, aka Ty.
So lately, I think the last week or so, mostly a lot of like trip hop has been happening. And,
Trip
like,
hop,
Yeah.
huh? Interesting. What kind of trip hop?
So for sure, like Massive Attack would be like the biggest band.
Okay.
But
That's one of those genres I always have difficulty coming up with what the sound is. You know what I mean?
and also just again a lot of like Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul. Just I don't know, just like this weird random mood I was in, and it just started hitting like the last week or two. I'm like, I just want to low key vibe and just relax.
Yeah.
So like a lot of that in the
Okay.
headphones last week or so.
Yeah. Nice. What about you, John? What have you been listening to lately?
I've been listening to a lot of 2000s country actually at work.
Yeah.
Just like some nice, some nice
Country
like
from
you
your
know,
childhood.
like from
Yeah.
like even from teens,
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
when I was, like I said, even into my high school years,
Yeah.
Dixie Chicks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as far as what I have to plug,
Yeah.
Team Venom's Power Rangers podcast.
Huh.
Actually,
Team Venom.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a couple of different guys. One of them's British. And they've had our
Brits.
personal friend Ron Wasserman on 4 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
They discuss a whole
Yeah.
lot of different stuff, Power Rangers, and that's me.
Yeah.
So that's I'm always looking for stuff like
Hell
that.
yeah. Hell yeah. I think we just
it's a
need
really good, really
run
good
on one
podcast.
more time, and then we'll be
You know?
we'll be.
I think we'll be
up-
tied
par.
with that.
On
But,
par,
yeah. So I've been listening to them a lot, and they've talked about a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
They've even had one of the like other people from the Power Rangers stuff. Like they've had
Ooh.
like the guy that did like the props and stuff like that, and they had the guy that was the Red Ranger from In Space, and that's a really good interview.
Okay.
I'd like to talk about that. That's a really good interview.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely there's all of the Power Rangers that currently are around. I want on the podcast at some point. If you couldn't tell, we were born in the time for Power Rangers time.
You guys.
Oh, you and me both.
And we had we not to brag, but we've had on Ron Wasserman, the guy that wrote the Power Rangers theme on the podcast
Wow.
a couple of
Three times.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He is so nice.
It's very great.
But that's my brag for the podcast. And what I've been listening to is Duster, this band that my Spotify suggested to me, and I've been really, really digging. They're kind of just I don't know, post-hardcore, kind of ethereal guitar work, spacious kind of stuff. It's like, I don't know why I haven't heard it earlier, but it's way up my alley. And I also I've been really listening to Smokey and the Bandits soundtrack. It's great to drive around to, I've found.
Been driving faster than
Faster than I should be,
Oh,
probably.
all right.
Yeah, while listening to this. And for my plugs, check out the YouTube as always. We just hit 200 subscribers, and I'd like to hit 3 in 1 month. How about it, guys? 300 in 1 month. Can we do it? Probably not. But
maybe so.
But what about you, Ty? What have you been listening to lately, and what do you have to plug?
Lately I've been look at my phone here. I've been listening to the new Owl Bear record.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
Friends of ours, really great, kind of trad metal,
Okay.
wonderful D&D inspired. Go check them out, Owl Bear. They're going to be playing at Legions of Metal, the festival in Chicago in May.
Okay.
Also, speaking of Chicago bands, a Mad as Power alumni band, High Spirits, just released the album Safe on the Other Side, which is another banger. Been listening to that. And then I went to Prog Power a couple months ago, and I really enjoyed the band Vola, Vola. I've been listening to a lot of them, and Caligula's Horse.
Caligula's Horse.
Wow. That's a
Caligula's
story.
Horse.
So
and then I guess-
specific. Like,
Yeah,
is
They're
the
really-
horse
they're-
a big part of that story?
they're
The
really
biggest.
good. I don't know.
I'm not.
know.
I guess I'm not too familiar with the story, but
I am
Caligula's
not
Horse.
either. I just,
Yeah.
you know, they're Australian and they.
Say no more.
They,
That's-
they say a lot of "G'day, mates" during their sets, and it's really fun.
yeah, no. I mean, I have been deep into the Australian music scene because of King Gizzard and whatnot. So I'm
Nice.
down with pretty much any group that comes from Aussie.
Yeah, and in terms of plug-in stuff, I would just say that hey, if you like this album, if you like us, check out our website lordsofthetrident.com. You can see where we're playing.
Yeah.
If you want to support us, best way to do it is on Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/lordsofthetrident. We are the #1 most supported independent power metal band on Patreon. And we do a lot of stuff on Patreon.
Yeah.
And I will say, just as a little hint for those of you listening here, and if you like what we're doing, you're gonna want to be on the Patreon at least the first half of this coming year for a really good reason.
Okay.
And I won't tell you what it is, but if you saw the way that we released the offering, then I think you will kind of understand why you would want to be on the Patreon, because there's something very vague booking here, but hashtag big things coming, so like. So get on that Patreon. And if you're, if you still want to just dip your toe into the water that is Lords of the Trident, just subscribe to our Facebook or our YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and whatever. I would say YouTube is probably the #1 thing, though. We do a lot, do a lot of
you guys
videos.
post a lot, yeah.
We're dropping a lot of stuff. We currently have a series that got started back up, called how such and such band orders a coffee.
Yeah, I've been enjoying those.
He did see that.
Yeah, you've done Queensryche, which I was really appreciating. I was like, yes, Queensryche.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
We just released How Beast in Black Orders a Coffee. We've got 6 more. They're going to come out every Monday.
Nice.
So
nice.
yeah, give us
I'm
a
glad
sub.
that you're
and-
continuing that series of memes.
the funny thing is that this happened because of like a one-off joke. So we also do Twitch, and I stream every Monday and Friday. Monday we do a gaming stream. Friday we do a singing stream.
Okay.
And on one of the singing streams, somebody asked me to do Camelot. I was singing Camelot, and for those of you who know Camelot,
from Monty Python.
No, the band
Oh.
Camelot.
Oh.
There's a power metal band called
Right.
Camelot, and their singer is extremely like dramatic sounding.
Okay.
he sings like this all the time. He's it's
yes,
like
yes.
he's
Classically trained theater singer.
Yeah, it sounds
minstrel.
like he's. It sounds like he really is, about to tell you something extremely important. And we were laughing about, like I wonder if he just walks around daily life, doing that. Like I wonder if he just when he orders a coffee, he's like, I'd like a latte, please, extra whipped cream, And so I got bored one day, and I was like, oh, I'll make how Camelot, orders a coffee, like a little video, because do a little short thing. So I put that up, and Camelot themselves immediately shared it to their Facebook page, and they loved it. And like in a week, it had 250,000 views. This dumb, stupid little thing.
Nice.
And the funniest thing was they played. I said I went to Prague Power, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
They played Prague Power. And I walked. They had a signing table where you could stand in line to get something signed by them.
Yeah.
I brought a Starbucks cup, and I walked up, and I'm like, latte for Cammy Lot, and they looked at me and they're like, you,
You're the guy.
you're the guy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I knew I had to keep those keep that series going. So.
Yeah. And that's the story of how you guys are going on tour then now, right? Like I'm sure that resulted in
can neither confirm nor deny. But we do have. I will say, we've got the Japan tour coming up in December of this year, at the end of this year, and then it looks like we are likely going to be going on a larger U.S. tour, opening for a bigger band. It's not set in stone yet, so I can't say who it is, and I won't say if it's actually even happening.
Yeah. You don't want to put the cart in
details.
front of the horse or whatever.
I don't want to jinx it, because every time you say it, it ends up not happening. So,
Yes.
but if the stars align, if the planets align, we'll be going on a longer U.S. tour with this band. So I might be going to bunch of different places in the U.S. And seeing a bunch of you all. So a bunch of you all listening.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. I can't wait to see you again in person live. Like I haven't seen you guys for some years, but like you're definitely like one of the live show experiences that I frequently talk about. You know what I mean? Like they had
Awesome.
D&D stuff. They had a sword and they were wearing shit and it was cool. So everyone, if you are a Madison listener, especially, they're a lot more accessible, but like you said, they're going to be going on a big tour, hopefully, all over the place soon. So check them out. We got links in the description. And again, thank you so much, Ty, for coming on and sharing with us some, just thoughts on the album. I love having a chance to talk to the actual like writer every now and again, and see how my notes compare with what they're thinking. So yeah, I really love doing these. And
thanks for having
you so
me.
much for being on.
No,
you
you're a
guys,
great guest.
you guys can follow us all over the places we got in the description, and we will see you guys next week on the Album Concept Hour.
The Album Concept Hour is Brad LeBaron, Dave Gallagher, and John Aker. Special thanks to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard for the theme music. Join the discussion on our Discord, tweet to us at Album Concept Pod, or for everything else, go to Linktree/Flyover State Park. See you on Side B. This is Flyover State Park. You are clear to land.